Hello everyone, I'm Dean Blevins. Since we last saw you a week ago, the Cowboys vaulted to number 19 in the Associated Press Top 25 poll and split two Big 8 road games. Coach, a great win at Kansas State and a disappointing loss for you in Norman.
We played one of our best games in Manhattan last Saturday afternoon, defeated the Wildcats 78-61, played well in all areas, and I really felt like that our team matured a great deal from that contest. Had to turn right around Monday evening and play the Sooners down in Norman, and it was their final night for their seniors. We met a very inspired basketball team, and we didn't play as well, and as a result, we got beat 89-80.
Jump up into the top 25, though. That has to be something you're pleased with.
Well, polls are great for the fans, and I guess they're good for players and coaches as well because it does help you in recruiting. But the thing I always tell our players, I said, we want to be there when the season's over. If you're in the top 25 when they hang up the uniforms for the last time, then you've had a great season, and we hope that we can win enough ball games the remainder of the year to remain in the top 25. We've got a big game coming up Sunday afternoon with the University of Kansas. I believe if we can upset the Jayhawks, then probably we'll be able to stay in the top 25. The loss to the Sooners hurt you some. How much, I don't know.
Let's go to Manhattan, Kansas, where it was actually a clinic occasionally, looking out and watching your Cowboys move the basketball, oftentimes not dribbling, just passing the ball around the horn, working it, and getting good shots, and as you mentioned, playing one of your best games of the year.
This is a big game for everybody in the Big 8 these days because everybody's fighting to stay in the top half of the league, and there's Bryant Reeves hitting a turnaround jump shot, and Kansas State's one of those teams, and they too were very inspired and played very hard, and the final score was not indicative of how close the game was. It was a much closer game than that, but I was very proud of our ball club because we did excel in almost every area of the game and just did the things that you need to do to not only win at home but to be able to win on the road. Shot 50%, out-rebounded them 38-33, only turned the ball over 13 times. Played good, solid defense.
Yeah, held Kansas State to under 35% from the field.
Good pass there from Brooks Thompson into Bryant Reeves. Bryant hit almost what his average is for the season, 19 points, 10 rebounds. He's has a chance to be the first player since Wilt Chamberlain to lead the league in 3 categories. That's quite an accomplishment, leading the conference in scoring, rebounding, and field goal percentage.
Cowboys, of course, dropped the tough one in Stillwater to Kansas State and gained some revenge in going to Manhattan. Do you talk to your club about that?
I never talk about revenge. I always talk about the things we have to do in order to do well, and really don't talk about winning that much. We always try to keep it in perspective. If you do these things, accomplish these goals, then your chances of winning are very good. Good defensive play by Fred Burley off to Randy Rutherford. They convert the 2-on-1 break, and this is in the second half when we broke the game open. Randy Rutherford had a great week, had 48 points in the 2 games, 19 in this game, and then followed up with 29 against the Sooners down in Norman. This is a great play right here. We're going to take a look at this play later as the play of the week, but they were pressing, and we hit the deep feeder. He hit Randy Rutherford and broke the press and got an easy layup. And here we go again, attacking. Nice pass by Brooks Thompson off to Milt Brown.
Pretty good ball movement there, or handling the ball with the right hand from the left-handed Brooks Thompson.
Well, Brooks Thompson and Randy Rutherford improved so much as a guard duo. I really felt they were playing about as well as any guard combination in our league until we played Oklahoma Monday evening, and Brooks didn't play quite as well as he has been playing.
Cowboys shoot extremely well from the free throw line, a season-high 86%. That always helps coming down the stretch, 24 of 28.
Well, you know that free throws are always important, but they're really important down the stretch because when you're ahead and people start after you and they start fouling you, it's almost contagious. If you start missing, then it seems like everybody misses. If you hit, then everybody hits. But if you don't hit them, you're asking for problems. It's like we tell our players, if you can miss a free throw earlier in the game, or you can turn the ball over earlier in the game, or if the official makes a bad call earlier in the game, you get time to recover. When it happens in the last 3 or 4 minutes of a ball game, there's no time. So that's when mistakes must be minimized.
So the Cowboys had won 5 straight, 8 of 9. You head to Norman to play Billy Tubbs Sooners. You had defeated them earlier in the year in Stillwater. A big outing for the Cowboys and, of course, the Sooners.
Well, as I said, it's a big game this time of the year for everybody because everyone wants to get in that first division of the Big 8 because if you get there, you're probably going to get a bid to the NCAA tournament. We started off well. We wanted to establish an inside game, and that's what we do right here. Brooks Thompson goes into Bryant Reeves, and he hits the first basket of the game. We come right back and get the basketball back again and get it back into him, and he scores. And that's a little later in the game. He had the first 7 points of the game. That's Randy Rutherford hitting 3 of his 29 points. But we didn't do a good job and didn't play as smart as we had been playing in establishing our inside game and getting the ball to Bryant. And once we got behind, the score was 22-22 with 5 minutes to go to halftime, and they went on an 11-0 run. And from that time on, it seemed like we were trying to climb the mountain, and that's difficult to play in a place like Noble Arena when you're behind.
Well, you did a good job, though, of rallying several times. Sooners, I know going into the game you were concerned about controlling their spurts. Oklahoma came back later in the ball game with a 17-3 run.
Well, they are spurty, and you want to try to curtail those as best you can. There's Randy Rutherford with a great drive to the basket. We're now in the second half, and as I mentioned, they had that 11-0 spurt just before halftime. Right. We cut the lead down to 71-65 with about 6 minutes to go in the game, and it looked like that we really had the momentum going in our favor, and then we came down and made 3 straight turnovers, and they broke away from us, and we never really made another run at them. Their defensive pressure was very good. Their press was good. Their half-court defense was good. I thought, I don't know how Coach Tubbs felt, but I really felt like it was the best man defense that their team had played probably for a long time. And as a result, they forced us into 23 turnovers, and what was even worse, they kind of took us out of our offense, and they got our rhythm all off whack, and we just didn't get the ball inside as much as we should have. Reeves had, I guess, the lowest total of points that he's had for a long time. He had 11 points and 12 rebounds. That's a good pass into Vaughn Bennett, and he hit the basket, and he converts that free throw, and that's when we pulled up 71-65. We pick up action a little bit later, and you can see we're 9 down with a little over a minute to go. It was a good shot of my wife, Patsy. She kind of looks a little distraught there, and I think all of the Cowboy fans that were there, and we had a lot of them, felt that way. But, you know, you can't be that disappointed. Oklahoma was a big favorite going in that ball game, and they're a good basketball team. We had been playing well. It's disappointing to lose, and the thing I told our squad, hey, the real season begins right now. It's March Madness. We've got to play this last game with Kansas, try to use that as a springboard to get into the Big 8 tournament by beating Kansas. We finish high in the standings, and then try to win the Big 8 tournament, because that's the only true way you get a ticket to the NCAA. The team that wins the Big 8 has the right to go to the NCAA. Then the tournament committee starts picking the at-large teams, and I would assume that in the Big 8 we're going to get probably 4 or 5 other teams that will go in that category. So we're going to try to improve on the mistakes that were made in Norman and try to become a better basketball team.
One of the things I know you'll want to look at, although you've given credit to Minor and to Webster and to Conley of Oklahoma, who played great defense against Big Country Reeves, but you really want to continue to hammer the ball down low to Reeves.
Oklahoma's interior defense, the 3 young men you mentioned, I thought they did a good job, but I think their perimeter players made it difficult when you looked at Evans and Hamilton, those Van, those type of people. They put so much heat on the person with the ball, it was just very tough to get it down to Bennett and Burley, and most of all to Country.
All right, we'll take a break. Stay with us. More of the Eddie Sutton Show after these commercial messages. Our play of the week against Kansas State, Coach.
With about 6 minutes to go, they'd cut the lead to 9 points. They're pressing. We hit the deep feeder. Good pass to Randy Rutherford, and he skied. He flushed that ball down through there. One thing you got to do when somebody presses you can't be content just to take the ball across the mid-court line. You've got to attack the basket. There's Bryant Reeves. He faces up. Randy Rutherford, one of our guards, releases. Good lead pass, and that's the play of the week.
Well, Coach, a lot of times knowing when to attack a defense is so critical, and there's an example. You knew to attack there, but how do you coach Brooks Thompson and Rutherford and the rest of the Cowboys in that regard?
Well, the first thing you got to do is recognize what kind of a press it is. Is it a zone press? Is it a man press? What kind of a zone press is it? And you've got to do that, and then you've got to get in your mind that we're going to take the ball all the way through the basket. That doesn't mean we have to shoot it, but we've got to make that defense understand that if you're going to spread your defense 94 feet, we're going to attack you, and we're going to try to get numbers. We're going to try to get an easy shot. Then you have to be disciplined enough. Once you get there, if you don't have the shot, then pull it out, put it in a half-court game.
Sometimes easier said than done.
Well, that's where we hope our guards continue to mature.
All right, we'll take a brief 30-second timeout. When we come back, Coach's Corner after this. And on Coach's Corner this week, we talk about Coach Eddie Sutton winning his 500th career win, and Coach, you did it at Kansas State. I know you don't like to go into all the details about what that means, but congratulations. Do you remember 100 and 200 and 300?
I guess, yeah, I remember them. It seemed like it was a long time ago. You know, I've coached 23 years in Division I basketball, but the game at Kansas State, I think I was pleased that it was a very meaningful game. You know, we could have won the game against a non-conference opponent, wouldn't have been as meaningful. That was an important game for us, and our players really went out and responded, and after the game they were extremely happy that they were a part of that. You know, I started coaching high school basketball, as you well know, at Tulsa Central. I never thought I'd leave high school coaching, loved it, and then a man by the name of James Taylor convinced me I should go out and coach his junior college and start a new program, which I did. I was there for 3 years. Then I went to Creighton, then Arkansas, Kentucky. Great to be back at Oklahoma State. But I never thought there was any way that I would coach as long as I have at Division I, win 500 games. But I guess if you coach long enough, that'll happen. But I have a lot of people to thank. All the great assistant coaches I've had along the way, and I've had the best. And then I've had unbelievable quality talent. And when you have talent, they'll make a good coach out of you.
Well, and one of your better talents right now will help you remember number 499, the Reeves shot. I'm sure you'll remember 499 forever.
You know, that shot will be talked about, as we said last week on the show, for years and years to come. And even though Gallagher only seats about 6,500 people, that story will be told, and 25 years from now, there'll be 100,000 people that they were in attendance. I remember when Mel Wright hit that shot against Kansas when I was playing, and we beat Chamberlain, and when they were number one. Every place I go in this state, I was there that night that Mel Wright hit that shot and we beat the Big Dipper.
Coach Sutton, one of only 12 active coaches in Division Ball to win 500 games. We'll take a timeout and come back for more after this. Well, we can't kid you. This show was taped on Tuesday, so as we go to the standings, you will see that Kansas is on top at 9-3. Of course, Kansas played Nebraska on Wednesday night.
We'll hope that the Cornhuskers upset Kansas. When they see this, the fans will know.
Oklahoma State next at 8-5. Nebraska 7-5. The Sooners at 7-6. Iowa State and Kansas State at 6-6. Missouri 4-8. Colorado 2-10. And Coach could be playing for the marbles.
Well, we hope that's true. But even if we're not playing for the championship, we still are playing to finish second place, which is a tremendous accomplishment for the young men that we have this year. They've come a long ways.
All right, let's take a look at the schedule of play coming up. On Saturday, it's Kansas State at Iowa State. Iowa State perfect in conference play at home. Colorado at Missouri. And on Sunday, Kansas at Oklahoma State. That is an ABC game starting at 2:45, and Oklahoma is playing at Nebraska. And then the Big 8 tournament comes up starting on Friday, March the 12th through Sunday, March the 14th. And we've talked a little bit about it here, but the tournament is always wonderful. And this year, you just throw them all in there together.
The tournaments are happening. You know, the last 2 years, all the games have been terrific. But this year, with the balance we have, it's going to just be an amazing tourney. And I hope that all the fans that are following us up there will cheer extra hard, because we got a chance to do well up there. Our team is probably playing about as well as most people in our league right now. But hey, there won't be any favorites. It'll just be flip the coin, and whoever plays best that day, they'll win.
Well, you know, early in the season, it was Kansas up here and Colorado down here and the six in the middle. That's changed a little bit.
Not anymore. A week ago, we saw that when Colorado went to Allen Fieldhouse and almost upset Kansas. I think they ended up losing the game by 4 points, but they were in it right to the end.
Coach, let's talk about Kansas for a minute. They're a club that many expected at the beginning of the year to be a Final Four team. They were ranked nationally #1. They've slumped, but still a very talented club and one of America's finest coaches in Roy Williams.
I agree with all those things you said. Believe me, Kansas is for real. They haven't played as well maybe during the month of February as they did earlier in the year. But there are a lot of other teams that you can say the same thing about. And the same thing happened to us last year. I think when you have a veteran ball club, sometimes it's hard to keep them up there at peak level for the entire season because of the length of basketball season. But believe me, Kansas is for real, and Kansas is still a legitimate Final Four team. I think they're one of the top 8 teams in the country. I would be very surprised if they don't get at least a #2 seed in the NCAA tournament.
Stay with us. One segment to go on the Eddie Sutton Show. Welcome back to the program. High school basketball, very big around the state of Oklahoma. Some talented players, and I know you are a supporter of high school hoops, Coach.
I'm a big supporter, and I would hope all the fans in Oklahoma get out and see some great high school basketball this weekend. You know, I coached high school ball, and I know how important it is for those young men to have support. I know their communities do that, but anyone that's a basketball fan, if you want to get out and see some good basketball, get out and see the state tournaments this weekend. Our coaches are going to be out taking a look at them. There's a lot of good talent in the state of Oklahoma. I don't think people realize, you know, and I can say this because I've coached in different areas of the country, Oklahoma high school basketball is really top notch. One of the reasons being there's a great interest on the part of the schools that promote basketball, outstanding high school coaches in the state.
And Coach, there were several Oklahoma players in the Bedlam battle the other night, more than I can remember in recent years.
I think you're going to see more and more of that in the future because our first priority is recruiting young men here from our state, and I think Coach Tubbs probably feels the same way, and that's the way it ought to be. Those players, that ought to be, it's always a special game, but I think it even becomes a bigger game when you have more Oklahomans playing in it.
The students will be out of town for Sunday's big battle with Big 8 leader Kansas. That means a few tickets are available, but a big battle coming up with the Jayhawks rolling into Stillwater.
Well, Kansas, even if they weren't at the top of the standings, that's always a big game, Dean. I can remember when I played and Dr. Allen was coaching the Jayhawks and Chamberlain was playing, even though we weren't in the Big 8 and we were a member of the Missouri Valley, that was always a big game because of the great tradition that Kansas has. And it will be here in future years because Roy Williams, you mentioned, is one of the outstanding coaches, got a great program. They'll come in here, and even if we're not playing for the championship, I think people might remember what a great game it has been the last 2 years. We've beaten them. I hope that we can beat them again Sunday and use that as some momentum to go to the Big 8 tournament the following week.
And you had last year's was a wonderful game. Few tickets remaining. You think they'll be gobbled up?
I'm sure they will be. The reason there's tickets is the fact that all of our students, or not all of them, a lot of them will stay here, but a lot of them are heading south for the spring break. Spring break begins Friday.
All right, Coach, congratulations on number 500 and good luck.
Thank you, Dean.
For the coach, I'm Dean Blevins. Thanks for watching this week's Eddie Sutton Show.